Not content with subverting expectations in Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe revelation, Netflix announced on Friday, January 28th that they're moving ahead with their live-action adaptation as well. This is a project that I want to be excited about, but I have to be honest. There are some major red flags here, which tell me they're heading down the wrong path. In this editorial, I will break down what has been revealed to the public thus far. What can be surmised from that? Plus, one extra observation I made based on our previous and extensive coverage of all things He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Everything we know comes from the official announcement, which was published in the trades. First and foremost, it confirmed our reporting from October of 2019, in that Sony has indeed sold a significant stake of their Masters of the Universe production that they've been trying and failing to get off the ground for a better part of a decade to Netflix. This movie then is first and foremost a co-production between Netflix and Mattel, with Sony also there as a background production and funding partner. Secondly, it confirmed that the movie will still be directed by the Nee brothers, who are holdovers from the final iteration of the project at Sony. Someone who won't be returning though is the Nee brothers' original pick for He-Man, namely Noah Centineo. Centineo was cast in early 2019, a good 6 months before Netflix got involved. But the moment they may have demanded a retooling of the project. Centineo never really said anything about He-Man since then, so it comes as no surprise that he is no longer involved. Replacing him as He-Man though, or more likely as Adam, is one Kyle Allen. He has been in a few things, none of which I have seen, so I can't really comment on his casting, beyond that he looks the part a little bit more than Centineo did. Finally, the story is written by David Callahan, alongside the Nee brothers. The story's synopsis reads: in Masters of the Universe, Alan will play an orphan named Adam who discovers he is a prince destined to be the savior of a faraway land. He must quickly learn of his power and the importance of saving his true home from an evil force. Now that we have gone through what we know, let's move towards what we can surmise based on that, using informed speculation. This is where the fun begins, although I use the term lightly. To begin with the point of least concern, there is our new Adam, Kyle Allen. Now, I don't really know anything about him, or what he can bring to the table as an actor. I have read that he is a dancer and an acrobat, so he's obviously extremely physically fit, although on the lean, thin and wiry side. He-Man needs to be bulky though, but for the time being, I'm not worried about that. The animated Netflix series Revelation really drove home the difference in size anyone transformed by the Sword of Power undergoes. And in keeping with that, I would imagine that when transforming to He-Man, Kyle Allen's physique will be CGI augmented into a mass monster. I don't know that will happen, and if it doesn't, we'll comment on that in due course. But for the time being, I choose not to worry about that, because there's plenty more to worry about. There is of course writer David Callahan, whose past output includes the Mortal Kombat reboot, Wonder Woman 1984, Shang-Chi, some Expendables movies and various other schlock. Not the greatest of writers. But on the level of each individual project, the writer is only as good as the one ultimately in charge who sets the parameters and provides notes and direction. For instance, a mediocre writer can deliver an incredible script if assigned to a great director or producer, while a team of individually great writers can deliver utter garbage if placed in a writer's room ran by fools. In this case, he is writing alongside the Nee brothers, but they are just the latest in a long line of filmmakers to be working on this. No, the ones really in charge are Netflix, as they are now the primary stakeholder and bill payer. The announcement name-drops Robbie Brenner and Kevin McKeon from Mattel Films, as well as Todd Black, Jason Blumenthal, Steve Tisch and Devon Franklin, who are either producing and/or funding this particular project. But what is suspiciously absent here is anyone from Netflix. Remember, Netflix calls the shots here, so the real buck stops here guy is someone who wasn't named in this announcement. That leads me to speculate that the one ultimately pulling the strings here is Netflix Ted Biaselli, and that has me worried. By all outwardly measures, Ted Biaselli is a hardcore fan of the Masters of the Universe brand. The guy knows practically everything about it. Alas, that also means he knows exactly how to subvert and deconstruct it. Because he is also what some might call a card-carrying SJW. When it comes to adapting established franchises with a huge fan following, subversion and deconstruction is his jam. Case in point, Masters of the Universe Revelation. Kevin Smith is blamed for it, but he was the showrunner in name only. He deferred to Mattel's Rob David, and first and foremost, to Netflix Ted Biaselli.
So our exec at Netflix, Ted Biaselli, we had him at Netflix. I wasn't worried about the reaction of the audience because I knew who the audience was. I was working for the audience. Teddy represented the exact customer we were trying to reach. And then in the process of making it, you realize, oh, we can expand it. It doesn't have to just be for fans, because we know every fan's gonna bring their kid to the table and be like, this is what I watched when I was a kid. So, we made it more accessible to not just, it wasn't so deep cuts that only hardcore fans could understand it. Anybody could enter into the episodes and pretty much follow along what's going on and enjoy it and stuff. So I never felt scared. I was never like, what's the audience gonna say? Because I knew who the audience was. It was Teddy. And Teddy loved every step of the way. And if he didn't love something, he made it so that he did love it. He'd be like, can we do this? Can we add this? I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Knowing that since we had his sign off for everything, I was never worried about the audience seeing it, because I'm like, if that guy likes it, everybody's gonna like it.
Kevin Smith should have challenged Biaselli, but make no mistake about it, it was Biaselli's insistence on subversion and deconstruction which destroyed that series. Again, I don't know for a fact that he is overseeing this production at Netflix, but from the released plot synopsis, we can already tell there is significant subversion going on here as well. If this production isn't overseen by Biaselli himself, it would certainly appear to be overseen by someone else with a similar penchant for deconstruction. Let's go back to the plot synopsis. In Masters of the Universe, Alan will play an orphan named Adam who discovers he is a prince destined to be the savior of a faraway land. He must quickly learn of his power and the importance of saving his true home from an evil force. From that, we can extrapolate a couple of things. First and foremost, he's an orphan, so no royal upbringing. He's an orphan who is pushing 30, but never mind that, because he's also a prince, one who is destined to be the savior of a faraway land.
I'm an honest-to-God prince.
Meaning he is not in that faraway land. His true home is implied to be that magical faraway land, in which he is not currently present. This we know. That begs the question, where is he as the story begins? Well, most likely he's right here on Earth, looking at the sky, wondering if he wasn't made for something greater. I say most likely he's on Earth, because we can always hope for the absolute best case scenario possible within that description, which would be that they ripped off the secret of the sword and gave this He-Man a variation of the origin story written for She-Ra. You will recall that she was kidnapped by Hordak and taken from Eternia to Etheria, where she, for all intents and purposes, was an orphan from a faraway land. Although her adopted homeworld also was an alien world from the audience's point of view. However, it would make very little sense story-wise to make yet another different world in addition to Eternia, so chances are, a big chunk of the story will be set on Earth. Thus repeating the one thing which was universally disliked about the 1987 movie, namely it being set on Earth. Eternia is a character in the story. It doesn't matter if He-Man's mother is an astronaut from Earth. No He-Man movie has any business being set on Earth. If you want to kill excitement for a He-Man project right off the bat, then setting it on Earth is one surefire way of achieving just that. I get that since this is a straight-to-Netflix production, the budget isn't all that, but that's no excuse, as even Asylum movies are set on different worlds. Ripping off the 1987 movie in this way is the last thing a new He-Man movie needs. However, the wording of that plot synopsis leads me to think they might have ripped off something else as well, namely Barbie. Yeah, you heard that right. Barbie as in Barbie and Ken. You see, Masters of the Universe isn't the only Mattel property that was languishing for years at Sony. That was also the case with Barbie. For a while there, Amy Schumer was attached to play Barbie. We covered the production and development of that too, right here at Midnight's Edge. And because of that, I am able to spot parallels between what they were doing there to what they're doing now with He-Man. You see, ideas developed for one movie, if that movie doesn't happen, can very well be recycled and put to good use elsewhere. There is ample precedent for this. For instance, while the original 1987 Masters of the Universe never got a sequel was being developed. Of course, that sequel never happened, but not letting good, money-saving ideas go to waste. The producers and filmmakers behind it nonetheless recycled ideas and concepts developed for it in their later movies Cyborg and Captain America. I believe the same thing happened here. For years, Sony and Mattel spent millions developing a Barbie movie where the story was some variation of Barbara Millicent Roberts, which is Barbie's real name, traveling from our world into the fantastical faraway land of Barbie World, where she was destined to be what she wanted, I guess, and after some misadventures, she would learn that true beauty comes from within, or something like that. They were never able to quite crack it, and from what I understand, director Greta Gerwig, who is currently making the Barbie movie with Margot Robbie, not Amy Schumer, is going with a completely different story, as that one was long since discarded. Meaning, Sony and Mattel at the very least had the opportunity to recycle the concept for one of their other movies, which would be this one. But whether the concept was recycled from Barbie, or they made an original one that kind of sounds like it, the practical outcome of this green story is that He-Man is likely going back to Earth. That alone kills my excitement right there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, be sure to check out our extensive retrospectives detailing the history of the Masters of the Universe franchise, and subscribe so you don't miss an update.